Suspects, the USA, Canada, Australia, at the top of the list. The HDI measures things like life expectancy, adult literacy, and purchasing power. But it doesn't measure what this conference is all about, sustainability. The Mongolian ecologist Chulan Toktok has a way of doing just that, though, with his new Human Sustainable Development Index. And it throws up some fascinating results. He's with me now. Welcome. What does the HSDI measure in addition to the things that the HDI measures?
This incorporates environmental index, and I started to change the name also. Maybe it's better to frame like sustainability index. And as in an environmental index, I'm including carbon dioxide emission per capita. Of course, less emission, better index, of course. And in terms of social index, I'm suggesting instead of this education and health index, education doesn't count now quality education. And instead of this, I'm suggesting to include equity index based on Gini coefficient. And now then it becomes more holistic the index with social equity and environmental index. And these three, when we integrate all these three indexes, it responds very nicely to three pillars of sustainability, and also it actually tackles two main global risks, increasing greenhouse gases and income disparities. And another thing is actually it's cross skills. It's not only human index anymore. It's human well-being and also societal resilience and also global.
Now, the sort of things that you're adding into your index, the social things, the environment, are they truly measurable nowadays? Can we now get a genuine and realistic measurement of these things that people will accept?
Well, it's a good question. This CO2 emission per capita is measured. Its data is available. Gini coefficient is I'm right now proposing, but it's has to be it's measurable, but we have to work on it to measure in all countries.
And what happens if you start applying your new index to the world? How does it change the league table of the index? Does the USA, Canada, Australia still appear at the top of the list, or do other countries now come out better?
Oh, it will be like paradigm shift. For instance, we are if we measure this way, so we are going to measure like how growth is greener and how societies are equal. And interestingly, I already ranked all countries with this new index, sustainability index. And what is interesting is more eco societies like Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and interestingly also Japan are on the top of the list. And consumer societies go down, and this gives very interesting indication which way or how we should go in order to have paradigm shift.
Do you get any sense that the world is willing to embrace your new index?
I think we have to change, otherwise it's exactly, so we need to have this global change in order to respond to global environmental changes. And we all scientists are achievements of science is at this stage is we are near the threshold, near the tipping point, so we can have non-linear changes. You know, it's so we were all talking about global warming effects, and these two indices are interestingly both systemic. So greenhouse gas emission is very systemic for all the, not only environmental issues and the human well-being and the global sustainability for all the whole system. The whole system is our commons.
Blah, blah,
so
blah.
It's about a governance issue.
Oh, it's a governance issue, yeah. Global governance, yeah.
Thank you. Now, if you've been watching the Daily Planet and the rest of the conference on the web because you couldn't get to London, there's a good chance you'll have been to one of the many related events that are being held around the world in science and technology centres and in museums. 150 members of the Worldwide Association of Science and Technology Centres have been putting on all sorts of events related to Planet Under Pressure and feeding back into the conference here in London over Twitter, Facebook, Skype and through the website. To catch up on what's been going on, I'm joined by Bryce Seidel, the chair of the ASTC, Robert Fernhofer, the director of the Copernicus Science Centre in Brussels, and Margit Fischer, the president of the Austrian Science Centre Network.
First Lady of Austria.
To all of you. So what's been happening? What have you been up to elsewhere in the world apart from here at the conference centre in London?
Well, certainly the science centers around the world have rallied to this important gathering of scientists because our job in so many ways is to be storytellers and translators of current science and historic science to get young people and old people excited and respectful about what science means to our lives. And so when there are big conferences like this or Rio Plus 20, it galvanizes all of us to start to rethink about our responsibilities and our opportunities to knit people together globally to think about the impact of science and how exciting and wonderful it is, and at the same time how important it is.
How much thirst is there for science and sustainability in the world, particularly I guess amongst the young, who presumably make up a large part of your audience in these places?
I think young people and elderly people also want to know about what's going on. It affects their personal lives. They want to understand what's going on, and they want to understand how they can improve life and sustainability of this earth.
What sort of reaction have you had coming back from the centres as to what's been happening here at Planet Under Pressure? How have they responded?
Just one little correction. I'm also president of EXCITE, which is a European organization for science centers
Forgive me, I
and museums. Well, I think it's extremely important that we find a good way to bridge the scientific world of research and the societal and the society. In fact, I don't think we do have a strong limit border between the two. Science is part of the society, but we are not just translating science to the society, we are also providing a platform for debate and discussion. As we all live in the democratic world, and that's up to the votes, what decisions will be taken by the decision makers. Therefore, this conference provides science centers with this opportunity not only to listen to the scientists, but also to be involved actively by tweeting, asking questions, and many events that are organized in the science centers in Europe and worldwide are also very much participative events. This is, I would stress the word engagement, empowerment and engagement.
And what form has that taken in these science centres? What has been happening in them? What sort of things have been happening?
Well, for example, today there's going to be a link up here between the conference and people at the at the Ontario Science Centre in Toronto, Canada. And there's another one also happening today where there's a very distinct link between the young people at a science center connecting up and engaging in conversations with scientists. But I think Robert's point is very key for science centers. We're very interested in helping address this issue of the relevance of science, and that means taking science in the context of our social and political structures, not just taking science as an isolated, pure sort of a discipline that you learn and then go out into the world and figure out why it matters. I'm very encouraged by some of the comments we've heard here just today about the importance of the integration of the social sciences and the physical natural sciences and the economics, because ultimately for science to be relevant to any individual's life, be young or old, it has to fit in the context of the lives we live. I think science centers do a good job at that and really set young people up, particularly to be able to understand why natural sciences are so valuable to society and how they can inform public policy.
Are science centres now truly global? Are they everywhere?
We hope so. There are not enough science centers. As you could see on the map, there are big empty places of this global world, and we should try to fill up with science centers, because you can discuss in a science center on a very memorable, enjoyable, experiencing way what science is about, and that is what our topic is on this conference. That we want is to work together with the scientists to break down science so that average citizen can understand what's about.
What difference do you think the science centres, the network of science centres, can make?
I think it's a huge difference. That's the difference which is focusing on bridging the real impact on the society. We are to translate science to the society, but we are also to provide scientists with the feedback from the society. And I think it's almost equally important. That's why we use a lot of very participatory, engaging formats in order to bring all the stakeholders together to one table. And the stakeholders include, of course, the main audience of the science center, which are young people and families, but also teachers, but also politicians, non-governmental organizations, of course, researchers. And another difference is that we help to discover to the adults the curiosity in themselves, the curiosity for the world's phenomena. And that's something that is almost forgotten, that you stop asking questions about important things. So we provide children with the opportunity to find answers for their natural curiosity, and we provide adults with the opportunity to discover the childish curiosity in themselves again.
It is exactly that. It was what got me first interested in science all those years ago. Thank you all.
May I just add to that, and to bring to the knowledge to the people that they have to unquestion the answer. There is no right answer which can be given. You have to unquestion every answer they get.
That's a great.
And that is very important, not only for science and for sustainability, but also in politics.
That's a great final thought to think on, to unquestion the answer. I like that. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of this edition of the Daily Planet. I'm back in just over an hour, I beg your pardon, at 1 o'clock London time, with the very last Daily Planet, when we'll focus on the final outcomes of Planet Under Pressure and assess what's been achieved. But until then, goodbye.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats. We're ready.